This is San Diego, the harbor of the sun, as some call it. Here is what it looks like from the air. Down below, about 542,000 people call it their home. It's my home, too. I wear a badge from the San Diego Police Department. My job, Police Beat, San Diego. Police Beat in San Diego. There's quite a few of them. 52 beats in number, covering 240 square miles from T-Town on the south to the city limits of La Mesa on the east, then north to and including La Jolla and thence to the ocean. We see a lot of strange things while working Police Beat here. We see the smokestacks and the geraniums at work, at play, and sometimes at trouble. It's a full-time job with us to keep that trouble from happening whenever we can. When we can't prevent it from happening, we try to apprehend the troublemakers, the folks who break the law, and remove them from society. Some of them are removed only temporarily. Some are removed for life. That's our job. We aren't overpaid as jobs are in this part of the country, but we work hard at it nonetheless. It isn't a kid's job either. We have to be at least a high school graduate, and every one of us has had at least another intensified 90-day course in police science similar to OCS schools in how to become a good officer of the law. When we are selected to serve, our schooling continues. New techniques are taught. The schooling goes on. The Police Beat in San Diego must and will be served efficiently around the clock. This is our home away from home, the San Diego Police Department headquarters with a formal address of 801 West Market Street. Most folks who need our help, however, don't wait to write us a letter. They call, like right now. Police Beat is big business, so big it employs 649 officers and 128 civilians. 90 men are in training annually for jobs on the police department. Like any big business, we have a personnel problem of sorts. A 9% turnover of fellows who get tired of wearing a badge and simply resign for better-paying jobs with less responsibility. You'll never get rich being a police officer here in San Diego, but the job has its rewards nonetheless. Once in a blue moon, somebody writes a nice letter into our commanding officer telling about something we've done that they think we should be commended for doing. This type of thing goes on our records and helps towards any promotion which might come our way. You won't see any fat and flabby officers of the law on Police Beat in San Diego. Those young boys you just saw, not 21 years of old, are taking a police training course. They're police cadets, as their shoulder patch indicated. This is a squad room where we are briefed and inspected before we get on our motorcycles and patrol our beats, which are explained to us in advance of each assignment. Some of us ride two-wheelers, some three-wheelers, hence the plastic helmets on some of us, and the omission of this safety feature on the fellows who will patrol the downtown area at very slow speeds in traffic. These plastic helmets to us are like a plastic liner worn by a ball player. They may someday prevent us from serious injury. Police Beat is methodical and scheduled to leave and return at different hours around the clock 7 days a week. As mentioned previously, we have to cover 240 square miles of 52 police beats in San Diego. When we leave the station on patrol just because we are police officers, that doesn't necessarily mean that we have the right of way. We wait for the traffic and then proceed when we can. The only time we have the right of way is when we're on the way to an urgent call and our red lights are blinking and the siren is sounding. Not too unlike the armed forces, for every man on Police Beat, there are 2 or 3 of us in back of us, doing paper or legwork or research or file work at department headquarters. To maintain an efficient police department in a community the size of San Diego requires a lot of men and a lot of man-hours. Many of us do thankless jobs around the clock, but they're jobs which have to be done, and some of us have to do them. In the many different divisions and offices at 801 West Market Street in San Diego, we work out of more than 15 different divisions, doing dozens of different but necessary jobs. I'm not sure who coined the expression, police work is 90% perspiration and 1% inspiration, but whoever said that must have known what he was talking about. The San Diego Police Department, in cooperation with the San Diego Junior College, has established a police science program which some of the officers are now seen attending. Specific police subjects are taught by experienced police officers, 90% of whom have a vocational teaching credential. The related subjects are psychology, chemistry, and the like, similar to those being taught in regular junior college classes. Each police recruit who successfully completes the San Diego Police Academy receives 12 units of junior college credit towards an AA degree in police science. We didn't have to become police officers, but we did because we wanted to. We have to understand how to operate a tear gas gun, a riot gun, an automatic rifle, a submachine gun, or take a picture. Yes, we are trained in first aid, how to wear a bulletproof vest, how to set up roadblocks and light flares when necessary. We've got lots to remember. We run several different types of patrol. Motorized, which is, of course, automobile or motorcycle. Foot patrol used in business areas, parks, and beaches. And all are separate and different types of patrol for police work, police beat, a full-time job. All of our vehicles are maintained and checked constantly to keep them in tip-top condition. We can't replace our units every year. Once in a while we get one of our cars creamed and it's beyond repair. Then we do without it till some future date. I suppose it may sound somewhat trite, but we don't have unlimited funds to run our department. We have to economize and take better than average car of the equipment issued to us. We buy our own uniforms, but the badges and weapons are furnished. Patrolman John Lewis will drive this squad car on police beat. His purpose to allow films to be shot from this car during actual patrol duties and answering calls on our police band radio. We fasten our seat belts before we drive into traffic. Do you? It can save a life, you know, and that's no kidding. Maybe you've asked yourselves, what do we do when we drive around the city in a police car? Are we looking for trouble? No, we're not looking for trouble. We don't want any trouble. Our job is to prevent any trouble from happening whenever we can. Just the mere sight of a police car cruising around an area is often enough to deter a crime which may have happened if we hadn't just happened to drive by at a given time. We try to accomplish 5 major points in police beat. We try to prevent crime by just being visible and obviously alert to what goes on around us. We can apprehend known and wanted criminals on the spot when we see them. Each day we are all furnished with a daily bulletin which we like to call the hot sheet. It lists stolen vehicles we are trying to locate for their rightful owners. It lists a lot of other valuable daily statistics compiled by our statisticians for our help. We all take our turns going out to the police department target range on Highway 94. When we have to use our weapon in the line of duty, we mean to hit the target we aim at. Practice makes perfect, and none of us are perfect. So we just keep on practicing and hope we'll get better as we go along. Patrolman John Lewis uses a standard Smith & Wesson caliber .38 police special revolver. It carries 6 shots. None of us carry the so-called heavier magnum weapons. They're too dangerous for city work. Automatic handguns are not carried at any time by on-duty officers. Officers assigned to detective work may carry smaller snub-nosed weapons more easily concealable than the heavier weapons normally worn on a belt holster. Those holes you saw on the target were put there by a police department marksman. When we are in the car and on police beat, we are tuned to police broadcast frequencies at all times. A call has come through. Let's see what happens. A drunk lying on the sidewalk was reported to the police. He is picked up, questioned, and when it was ascertained that he couldn't stand on his own 2 legs, he was taken downtown and allowed to spend the night in jail to sober up. Habitual drunks, of which every town has more than their share, are always a big headache to law enforcement officers everywhere. If you wonder why drunks are locked up, think of what might happen to them if they weren't put away for their own protection. There's a terminology for some of the habitual drunks. It's not a nice word. Wino. Yes, we still report in from specified areas on police pull boxes. Not many of those left, however. One of the jobs I'm sure no one likes to do any more than does the person like to receive simply is giving or receiving a parking or moving citation. It's a job which must be done, and so we do it. I don't like that trite expression that some big city officers like to use. You remember? Lady, I don't make the laws. I just try to enforce them. We don't use that brand of corn here in San Diego. It's bad enough to have to write a ticket and listen to some of the humorous excuses we get every time we do. So we try not to say too much. We learn more by listening. We have other jobs which occupy our time when we are driving our prowl or patrol cars. We may have to interrogate suspicious people, make security checks on stores at night, patrol areas which may have been troublesome in the past, and keep a close eye on liquor stores and filling stations at night. We render emergency first aid when we're first on the scene and somebody needs help now. We watch for traffic hazards and set up barricades to direct and reroute traffic when emergencies exist. We are expected to regulate conduct at athletic events, guard important persons when they visit our city, and yes, we've even taken good care of a President of the United States and another man who was to succeed him. This is a civic center on Harvard Drive. It houses the mayor and the city manager. They manage the city. We protect it around the clock. Most of us own homes and are family men. We shop at the same stores. Our kids go to the same schools as do yours. And we wave at you at Sundays or at church. And we both wince when we have to pay our taxes. We're part of the community, the part that wears a uniform, not because of draft, but because of choice. Downtown, our many offices take care of 5 different types of criminal investigation. Investigations of auto thefts, criminal investigations in the various phases of fingerprints, identification and preservation of evidence, investigative aids, narcotics, scientific aids, and vice. It's all a part of the many jobs we have. But let's get one thing straight. We don't have any heroes or fair-haired boys. No one man solves all the crimes. It's a team effort, and you can bet on that. In the criminal laboratory, for example, the very latest and most modern scientific equipment and instruments assist in solving crimes. Photographic processes and artists help too in identifying and capturing criminals. In our business, you cannot sit on your laurels. You have to strive to improve and learn more scientific methods when they become known. Gathering evidence is a very important task of each law enforcement officer. But the evidence which is gathered is no more important than the use it is given. The percentage of unsolved major crimes which have occurred in the city of San Diego is very small. If you are thinking about breaking the law in our town, better forget it. Chances are the cards are stacked against you, and the odds makers won't take any bets on you. If you have a desire to make a complaint in person, you make it right here. Information Desk Sergeant. He's a busy fellow, but never too busy to forget to be polite and efficient. Somewhere out on the police beat of San Diego, a felony may be taking place at this very moment. There is a code number used when describing a law being broken. You are now going to watch an actual simulated 211, an armed robbery of a liquor store. Follow it through from the crime to the incarceration. As Confucius said, a picture is worth 10,000 words. the innocent, I think it only fair to add that the suspect is being enacted by Howard Stein, associate producer of Police Beat. But he was and is being subjected to just exactly the same procedures he would be if he had actually committed a felony. After being driven to the city jail, he will be booked. He will then be searched again for removal of personal effects. Be fingerprinted and then mugged. That's taking a police picture. He will then be allowed to make one call. He can call his wife, a lawyer, or a bail bondsman. And then he'll be locked up. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to sell you the life of living inside of a jail, but it might be a lot worse. For example, our jail is cleaner than most jails. This meal, for example, could be a lot worse, and we serve 250,000 similar meals every year. You can't usually spend more than 180 days here. After that, you have to leave and make room for the newcomers. This is the polygraph or lie detector. Our suspect is voluntarily taking the test. The only way a suspect may be given this examination is, of course, on his own free will. The evidence is not admissible in court, however, but here's something that's encouraging. In 1960, we ran 418 suspects through there, and we canceled 260 cases right in that room because of admissions the suspects made. That saved taxpayers a lot of time and money. Every member of the San Diego Police Department has his or own job to do. Nobody steps on anyone else's toes. Unattended kids sometimes get in trouble. It's our job to try to straighten them out before they get to that stuff you just saw, dope. Hoover High School student ROTC cadet Randall Lee submits to a simulated interrogation on El Cajon Boulevard. Both officer and juvenile are polite to one another. It doesn't always work out this way in reality, however. Some kids seem to enjoy baiting police officers. During each school day of the year, hundreds of elementary school boys help thousands of other elementary school children to cross busy streets on their way to or from school. These boys wear distinctive uniforms, white shirts and pants, a red sweater, and a yellow cap. They look especially distinguished when, in keeping with a long-established tradition, they snap proudly to attention and salute passing police officers. The returning of this salute has developed a high morale among the school safety patrol boys and a feeling of being a part of the police department's safety program. School safety patrols in the city of San Diego have a 100% safety record. No fatalities have occurred on the corners which these boys guard so diligently. Sergeant Jerry Kroom is in charge of all school safety patrols and is extremely well pleased with his young charges. Here, Officer William O. Willickson is patrolman in charge of the area at the intersection of Fermi and Mission Village Drive. At 3:05 p.m. Monday through Friday, you can see these fine young boys in action all over the city. Police Beat continues. We're in a big city. It's bigger every day we go to work, and the job and the responsibility gets larger as the population grows. We don't know what call might be coming up next on our police radio. An actual call of a disturbance involving 200 juveniles is answered. We speed to the scene and hope there won't be trouble and hope that the kids won't get hurt. This is what we saw when we drove up. Situation well in hand. The juveniles have been dispersed and a possible juvenile disturbance is called off. The remaining children appear to be just having fun. Our boss is Chief of Police Jansen. a dedicated but gentle man who believes in fair play and physical conditioning. He takes his job seriously, and he is respected by all of us. Police beat in a city of 542,000 people is a job of full-time responsibility. We work around the clock. When you're home enjoying a holiday, chances are we've had to double our working force to cope with holiday situations which arise. We have a multitude of tasks to do. We're never finished. Our job is never done.
Buckboard Acres, our destination.